Hackers are always on the lookout for inadequate encryption. There are so many robust encryption methods that will scramble or lock up your data from the very beginning to prevent it being hacked. A common security technology to do this is SSL, or Secure Socket Layer. What SSL does is it prevents the tampering of data as it's sent between your browser and your web server. So for example, if you input your credit card details on an online store, SSL is what scrambles it between you and the server. Now, if that type of technology is badly configured in the first place, that will become a prime target for cyber criminals. Of course, as more and more companies of all sizes are turning to cloud-type technology, that is going to be a very heavily focused area for hackers and bad actors. This is a very easy entry portal for those looking to infiltrate your system. Now, an inexperienced cloud architect or cloud administrator may be given the task of configuring their cloud architecture for a company, let's say, using Microsoft Azure or Amazon AWS. But if they've just used default settings, then these will be targeted by malicious actors who know all about the vulnerabilities of the system. So in this way, a really mature, seasoned cloud architect or administrator is never going to use the standard out-of-the-box configuration that comes with these products. Amazon's S3 offering on AWS provides a suite of tools designed specifically to prevent against attack like that. As I've mentioned earlier, a zero-day vulnerability is a weakness that has been spotted within a software which the creators of the system haven't yet realized. So they've not created a patch or a fix for it, but criminals have already realized that there is a flaw in that software. Cyber criminals are always on the lookout for these whenever new software releases come out, or upgrades even to operating systems. If they're launched, then it could be that the upgrade is weak. If a zero-day vulnerability has been identified in the hacking community, these guys are all over it before the developers of the system have even awoken to that fact. So there is this critical window of opportunity between identifying a flaw and the fix. And that is when a zero-day attack occurs. Again, as mentioned earlier, a brute force attack is one where the hacker just uses trial and error to try and guess the login details of an attack. It's one of the most common attack vectors. This is where the complexity of the password is the best deterrent, as I mentioned earlier. Now, there are different types of brute force attack. From simple, which means that they are doing it manually without help from software tools or AI systems. Really, they're just hoping to find that you're using a very weak password, such as admin or password or 1234. And in that situation, they're just testing all your websites with very weak passwords. Another type of brute force attack is what's known as a dictionary attack. And literally, this is where a hacker utilizes a set dictionary of words which have been successful in the past. So people keep updating that dictionary with common passwords that have worked. It's a cumbersome method, but it's still in use. Now, as you may have guessed, today, none of this has to be done manually, of course. Today, hackers use software tools in their brute force attacks. And of course, they're the same tools that security analysts will use to spot weaknesses in their client's architecture if they're an ethical hacker. So the tools that a hacker uses are the same tools that an ethical hacker uses to spot where a brute force attack might work. And these are tools like Hydra, John the Ripper, Encrack, and Hashcat. So those are used by both sides to test the robustness of a network and test how the operating system, anything from Windows to Mac OS and Linux, might actually suffer against a brute force attack. Now, I said I'd mentioned a bit more about code injections earlier. So here is SQL injections. Code injections refer to the injection of malicious code into an existing software or IT system. Now, of course, wherever you see the term SQL, we're normally thinking about something to do with databases. And here is an attack vector which is used to get behind the defenses of a database system and then manipulate it so that it reveals the data that is meant to be kept hidden. Now, of course, that information can be anything from names and date of births to credit card details and passport numbers. Now, if you think this is very specific, you must remember that most commercial websites today are linked at the back end to a database in some form, whether it's the membership database of a social media site or the loyalty program on an airline's website. So for this reason, websites are a prime target for SQL injection attacks. And in this way, the attacker can not only get access to entire tables and lists, but in the worst case scenario, they might even be able to gain administration rights and take over full control of that database. So this is huge. They can lock up and delete segments of the database as they see fit.